Alright guys, let's delete some rows. In this lesson we'll talk about that. Let's go ahead into our demo. Alright my friend, let's delete some rows. So this is how the app looks like after this training. I'm going to have a little edit button on the right hand side. And then when we click into this edit button, we can click into this guy and we delete it. Cool? So that is what we want to do. Or we can right slide or slide to the left, I guess, and then delete it like this. You see that? And very nicely, look at what we are able to achieve with the nicely done animation that the rows, the whole table view will slide up like this. Very nicely done. So there are a few things that we want to do. Number one, we want to, okay, let me make some notes over here. So this is, oh, by the way, this is what? This is custom table view cell. So the next one we want to do here is our what? Delete rows, right? So number one we want to do is we want to have let me see. We want to have the edit button on the right. Number two, we want to have the delete a row, right? And number three, we want to have that nice animation, so that we move the table view rows above, right? Or actually, we move it up like this. Now, when we delete a row like this, I'm going to show you how to add the edit button in just one line of code. But delete a row like that, it means that we have to delete it two places, okay? Number one, we need to delete it in our data model. And number two, we need to delete it in our table view. In our table view, which is our UI right here. Okay, so in the data model, which is this property over there, and then in the table view, which is what you see on the screen. All right, so let's talk about these three things. Number one, let's have that edit button on the right. So in the view.load method, what you can do is having that navigation item dot right bar button item to be our edit button item, like this. Now this edit button item is only available in your UITableViewController. And what it would do is that when you click into this edit button, it would turn automatically your table view into what we call an editing mode. Okay, so let me run the app and see how it looks like. Now let's see how it looks like. Okay. So this is the first time we just add one line of code like this, and when you see that when we click here, and we have this nicely done delete button, and you can see that we can have that thing like that. Cool? So that is what I'm talking about. Now, the reason why when we click into this delete button, nothing happens is we have to implement a method in TableView data source. It's called TableView commit editing style for row at index path. So when you scroll way down here, let's have a command called delete rows. Delete rows. And over here, let's have this command to be multiple sections, right? And here, let's implement a method called commit editing style for row at index path. You see that? Commit editing style for row at index path. So here what we are going to do is we check if the editing style is equals to .delete. So the editing style here is an enum called UITableViewCell editing style. When you hold command key, click into that, and you'll see that there's the case of none, there's a case of delete, and the case of insert. It means that you can insert new rows into the table view. Cool? So if it is the case of delete, what we are going to do is, number one, I'm going to delete the row or delete the product from the products of the product line. Of the product line. Okay? Or actually we can do something like that. From the product lines product array. And number two, we need to update the table view with new data, right? Because we just delete that row, delete that product from your product array. So let's do number one. Number one, let's have product line to be, because we have that index path. Remember, in table view, we use that index path all the time because that index path is the location of the row in the table view. So we have the product line equals to the product lines subscript index path dot section. Cool. The next thing is we are going to remove that product from the product lines product array. So what we can do is product lines dot product dot remove product line dot product dot remove at. Okay. Now what is the at here? The at here is the index of this product or the index of this row. What is that row? Because the product, the index of the product is in that product array, it's exactly the index path dot row of the row at that section, right? Remember? So here we can do index path dot row like this. Okay, now what we have to do left is number two. We just have to update the table view with our new data. There are two ways to do this actually. Way number one, we just have to call table view, which is our root view in our UITableViewController subclass. Remember, the table view is the root view. Dot reload data. Now this is a bad way to do this, but this table view, pay attention. This table view dot reload data is going to be the method that we're going to use a lot in our table view apps. Because when you call this guy, you are telling table view that, hey, we are having an entirely updated data source right here. This data source is just entirely updated. So now you have to recall all of these data source methods, so that you can update the table view like this. Make sense? So now let's run the app and see how it looks like. Okay, let's see how it looks like. We have this thing, and then click into the edit, click here, and delete. You see that? It's gone. It's gone. Just like that. And now, because it's gone like this, so if you look like this, delete, and it's gone. Okay, and then if you scroll down like this, somewhere in the middle, and if I click into the iPod Nano, click delete, and it's gone. Now, that is cool. That works, but it's not really good. It's not a really good way of doing this. Why? Because you see that it's gone immediately, right? But what we want to do is like our app right here. We want to delete this, and then the table view, it doesn't kind of like it doesn't reload in a flash like this. It doesn't. It's not gone in the blink like that. But it's actually move up all of these cells nicely animation. So how can we do that? It turns out very, very simple actually. What you have to do is comment this line out so that you know that there's a way to do this. Here's another way to do this. The way that we do this is that we're going to tell the table view that there's a helper method in table view. Really cool way. We're going to tell the table view, hey, table view, delete for me these rows. Delete for me these rows at these index paths, right? We're going to provide an array of index paths that we want to delete these rows. And then we just have to use this index path. This array only have one index path. This array only has one index path, right? Very cool. Now we have to we'll provide an animation over here. We have a lot of animation here. So double click into this and hold the command key, click into this UITableView row animation. And you'll see that we have different options. We have fade, we have right, we have left, top, bottom, those kind of things, right? So here, I'm going to have over here, dot automatic. automatic like this, so that the table view will choose itself like this. Okay, it will choose itself based on the location of the rows, those kind of things. So let's run the app and see how it looks like. Here we go, our app. Click over here, click in the iPad, delete it, and it moves up. Very nicely done. And look at this, when we implement it like this, automatic like that, we have the built-in free to use slide left to delete. See that? Incredibly cool, isn't it? Okay. Now, the last point I want to talk about in this session is that this edit button item, okay, if you look at this, it really is just a UI bar button item, this edit button. But because it is in UITableViewController, it has this property like this. Okay, if you click into that, it is a var edit button of the UITableViewController. But because it is in a UITableViewController, then by default, it is implemented in a way that when you click into this, it will toggle the table views editing mode, so that you have this free in all built-in, and you have that thing, right? Slide left and delete. Those kind of things. It's not magic numbers, it's not like magic code. All it means is that Apple is already implemented for us in UITableViewController. Hey, I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. That's quite been a journey. 6 lessons down so far. In the next one, we'll talk about moving cells around your table view, meaning that you have a handle like this, and then you can move it around your table view. You can move around the cells and have very nice animation. It will pop up the view. It has like the whole view moves up and down. Incredible, incredible, really cool. So check it out. The next lesson we'll talk about move cells around table view. I see you in the next one.